Yo,
What's up?
peace, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah.
Alright. Yo, welcome to Substantial Sundays. We looking tired as a motherfucker. Driving that bomb as soon as we start, you know what I mean? My name's Substantial. This is my brother J Cash.
How y'all feeling today?
Yeah, man. So, was having a whole lot of technical issues. The struggle was super real. You know what I'm saying? But we here, son. We here. So real quick, if it's your first time watching, make sure you say peace. Welcome to the show. And let us know where you're tuning in from. And most important thing is to please share the link. If it's your first time visiting Substantial Sundays, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you can get notified. All right? So because of all the technical issues, I ain't had time ahead of time to do like all the sharing to, post to the various joints. So you're going to see me looking down a whole lot trying to do that while we get set up. You know what I mean? Cash, how you feeling, son?
Good. Good. I'm tired.
Right.
Life is moving. Summer's getting ready to come to a close. Got a lot of moving targets, a lot of moving dates.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But life is good, man.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. How the kids, you know what I'm saying, what they into.
Getting on my nerves. But,
right. It's kind of what they do.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's what they do.
The struggle is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I ain't mad. How the babies? How Desi doing?
That's good, man. We're trying to get her to stop eating her hair. That's a thing. Yeah, she's dealing with pica. Like, like kids who eat things that aren't food. So Serenity used to eat like paper. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so Destiny's eating her hair. Like straight up, she'll be messing with her hair and just like pull a little nap, just pull that joint, bop. And then you go change the diaper later, like, oh, look at that. You know what I'm saying? Go in and that joint come out straight. Like, hey, it's a new type of perm out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? By way of diaper, my dude. Like, yeah, it's parenting, B. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, man. So, a lot of protein in that.
I know, kids are kind of weird.
I mean, yeah.
But, okay, so did you, I know Mom would have told you at this point. Did you have that type of issue or anything like that? Because I don't remember you eating. I would have straight come out with you if you did.
No, I definitely wasn't. It was like I was like most kids. I eat boogers. You know what I'm saying? It's like I was regular. You know what I'm saying? Niggas just ate boogers. You know what I'm saying? They out here eating hair. I was joking with my wife. I was saying I was like, yo, I blame it on the hair products you use. All this coconut oil and shit, all this like berry, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
She did that shit one time. I was like, that shit is delicious, and just kept crushing. I don't know, dog. Like, it's
go good with barbecue sauce, no bull.
Right. Yeah, man. It's different type of black girl.
How's Ren doing with the arm? I know she had that.
Yeah, Ren's good. We did a checkup on Friday. Yeah, we went to the doctor, did a checkup. They gave her a new cast. You know what I mean? That's why she's rocking the green joint now instead of the purple. They say much hasn't changed with her arm or whatever. They said it's still gonna be on like between 4 to 6 weeks. But she's all right.
But some things to heal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You know what I mean? Everything looking good. They saying that like it's within the angle percentage that it can be in or whatever, the bone.
Mm-hmm.
They saying like, I think it has to stay like around 10-20%, something like that.
Okay.
So hers is at 10, so she's like, they're saying as long as it stays at that, they're fine. Last thing you want is a situation where they gotta break it. Yeah, re-break it. Yeah. So that's why, we gotta keep going in every 2 weeks and stuff. They just check on it. So she good, man. You know what I mean?
Thanks, Calvin. How you
Cal,
doing, man?
what's up? Alright. We got the Barber up in here, Sherm, you know what I mean? Like reporting from a different location.
Sherm,
you know what I'm saying?
Good,
what up, Sherm?
What's good,
Alright. Hair versus Boogie's like, hey man, it's a struggle, you know what I mean? It's like something gonna get ate. So, choices. You know what I mean? The choices we make and the choices we live by. So on a bit of a somber note, man, just wanted to go ahead and put this out here now. For any of you folks who are QN5 fans, / Quintic fans, shout out to my brother Tone Deaf, and the crew. Man, just put some prayers out there right now for Lucy Camp. Lucy Camp is an artist on Quintic, which is a sister label to QN5. Unfortunately, this morning she was in a really, really bad car accident, and right now she's in critical condition. So please, man, put all the good vibes out. Put them prayers up. All the good vibes in the universe for her, man. She's a young one, man, early 20s, super talented MC and vocalist. Man, like just a lot of potential there. So it's unfortunate you don't see that happen to anybody. But definitely it's hard when it's somebody who's like rising and doing great things and stuff.
Right.
And the last thing you want to see is that get snatched away so early on.
Right.
So yeah, man. So definitely all the love and prayers out to the Quintic fam and the Lucy Camp and her family, man. And hopefully she gets better soon. All right, but yeah, man. Just wanted to give y'all an update on that because I just got that news probably like an hour or two before, like while I was getting set up for the show is when I saw it. And so I texted Tone just to make sure he was all right. And
This happened in New York?
No, this happened. She was out on the West Coast. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I got some details on it, but I'm gonna save that. We'll talk off camera and stuff. But yeah, man. But definitely, again, prayers out to her family and all of that. All right, but yeah, man. On a lighter note, what was it? Let me go over here to these notes real quick. Yeah, man. Let's get into some other things. A lot of stuff going on.
Man.
Lots of music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been watching some things. We ain't really talk on camera about what we've been watching. So maybe you want to start there.
I want to give a shout out to Johnny. I did start Evangelion.
Word.
It's got a Voltron type of feel.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
I started an episode too, but I should never start shows late at night.
Yeah, same thing with me. Like I
was defeated as quick as I started.
I got an episode and a half into it, then I dozed off. But I can't say that from what I did see, it's not half as bad. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna continue to watch it and see if it's more relatable. You know what I mean? Something I can really get into.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Also, I want to talk to you about the preview that you see. What's the guy from Get Out?
Oh, his new joint.
Yeah.
The Bonnie and Clyde joint.
Yo.
Hey, what's the movie called?
I can't remember the name of the movie.
Hold on, man.
But I saw the preview and I was like,
that joint looks hard, bro. Hard body karate.
Yes, indeed.
Sign me up.
Yes,
yes. Peace, Sergio. What's going on?
So I don't know the name of it. All I got was his. And shame on me for not remembering the name.
I'm gonna find it right now.
Yeah, but it's a movie that I think that everybody needs to play. And Sherm, if you available, maybe we do a road trip. You know what I mean? We go check that out. You know what I'm saying? All of us get together and go give our honest analysis about the movie, like we used to do back in the day.
Yeah.
But it looks like a damn
Queen and Slim.
Queen and Slim. Yeah.
Queen and Slim.
Yeah.
That joint looks dope.
Yeah.
Man. It's super dope. It's like. So, like, definitely Bonnie and Clyde type of film, feel, but think of, like, today's times with, like, the stuff going on with the black community and and police officers and stuff. And so imagine taking that, ripping that from the headlines, but, like, it going the other way.
Right.
And yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
from what I saw from the trailer alone, it puts you in a position that makes you think, what would you do if it was you? You know what I mean? And most of the times when you get movies like that, it's an instant classic. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to give up too much of it based off of what I think, but just to see them have to transition from a regular day to now being on the run and finding out who's your real allies and who's not, that looks like a good movie to watch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it looks really good.
The day it comes out, the weekend it comes out, we gotta definitely go out there and check that out, man.
Yeah, man.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Right. Hey, we gotta do that. Yo, I know Sherm has already been. Have you hit up oh my God. Top Golf. Have you hit up the new Top Golf? Hey man, both y'all lame, man. You know what I'm saying? Where's the phone call?
Hey, man. Get on the group home.
I gotta do something. Yeah, do something.
But yeah, it's definitely a nice chill spot, man. We can go kick it there too.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm no Tiger Woods.
Right.
Everything, you know what I mean? But it's definitely a good place to kick it and act like you know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, I love Top Golf.
Yeah. So,
because we got one not too far from here, so we go to that one all the time. But it's dope to see they got one in PG now.
Yeah.
Hey, while we talking different businesses, let me plug Brother Victorious, my man Vic. So right now I'm rocking this shirt. It says "Bet on Yourself," and this is this logo right here, which I had the pleasure of designing. For his business called Spizzy. So my man Victorious, he's actually the brother to the group Godzilla. He's opening up his own business in Camp Springs, Maryland. He's opening up a smoothie shop called Spizzy. Man, y'all can follow them on Instagram. It's just Drink Spizzy. Spizzy is SPIZZY. You know what I mean?
Please support.
Yeah, man. Like
please support. You're never gonna meet a more genuine, loving dude. Than Victorious, man.
They did a pop-up yesterday, man. That joint was the smoothies were great, like really, really good. Right. No artificial stuff, no sugar added, just like straight up all natural joints. But more than anything, it was just the community, right? Like to see folks come out and support. He ain't even opened the doors yet. He just got permission to do a pop-up in the parking lot out front of the business. So we got to check out, look inside the space because they're currently working on the insides and stuff. But yeah, man, just to see all the people, the outpour love for that dude, man, because he gives back a lot to this community, and so it's dope to see him out here winning. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, man. All right, let's got a couple comments up in this, John. A lot of comments. Here's a recommendation for you all: Netflix Money Heist, a Spanish show. Totally legit, definitely one of the greats.
I did see that come through my Netflix queue. It's something, and let me explain something the way. See, I watch Netflix versus how he watches Netflix. He actually watches Netflix. I put a whole bunch of stuff in my queue. I got stuff in my queue that I like. Yeah, I'm gonna get to it, and I never really find time to get to it. You know what I mean? So it did come through. I am gonna eventually check it out, but feel free to talk about it whenever you.
Right.
Don't wait for me, because if you wait for me, you'll
be waiting a while. Right.
Wait for a long time.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely saw it though.
Yeah, that's what's up. Hey, Daniel Beers, thank you, man. I appreciate the love for the track exposition. Mr. Sher, what's going on, brother? Peace to you, man. Congrats again on the continued success on the video. Yeah, that's what's up. I appreciate the cosign, Johnny. But yeah, man. Do you watch Orange Is the New Black at all?
I do.
Did you watch the last season?
Give me the line. I'm only through season 3.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So you playing super catch up.
Right.
Yeah, because it's on season 7.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, I'll just say this.
Feel free to talk about it.
Yeah. I'll leave the spoilers out of it. I was very pleased with how the show ended. I'll say that.
Was that a series finale?
Yeah, this season is the final season.
Word.
Yeah, and they did a good job. A lot of shows, after having a run like they've had, fall off from season to season and stuff. Some seasons were better than others. But this season, man, they tied in a lot of the stuff that we're seeing with ICE. So they had the prisons versus the detention centers, and they show you how some of the prisons, they get some of the prisoners to serve food to some of the detention centers, they're connected.
How is it
right? It's so, but that's, all right, one spoiler is there's a great line in there where they were talking about the difference between being in prison and being detained. They was like, at least in prison, you know when you're getting out.
That's deep.
That right there,
That's
deep. Yo, it's so many moments this season, man, where it's just I mean, you already feel for what's happening to these people, right? Coming across the border, you know what I mean? And to anybody, because I had a back and forth with somebody who's a fan of the music when I posted something in regard to it, and they were talking about how you just can't let people cross the borders and that and the third. And I understand. I definitely see what folks are saying. But what you gotta remember is, what is happening where this person's from that is so bad
that they're gonna travel
that they will
miles, thousands of miles.
It's not like they hopped on a plane. It's not like they got on just caught a lift. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about people trekking through desert. You know what I mean? Like, people getting injured along the way, risking their lives, risking their family lives to escape whatever it is
you mean like
they were dealing with.
Columbus?
Oh yeah, exactly. Escaping persecution. Right. I mean, we should know plenty about that. You know what I mean?
Small
right. I mean, and then the crazy thing is, like, the one dude who brought it up to me was just trying to talk about like how how they make it bad for people who come here legally and stuff like that. And I'm just like, and then he talked about like how the dude was mentioning how certain folks are lazy, this, that, and third. I was like, where?
Yeah.
When?
Yeah.
I'm like, dog, look.
We about to talk about it. We about to talk about it.
Man, I'm like, I know some lazy folk, man. Most of them aren't foreigners, bro. Like here, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like drive by any Home Depot. You can stay posted up in my community, because my community, I like to call this joint like the United Nations, right? Because there's so many different. Like, you hear so many different languages, so many different smells coming through this building or whatever, like food from like, and it's so like,
that is a fact.
And it's just like, man, like they literally contribute to the fabric of the country in so many different ways, like to build up this nation. This nation is nothing without immigrants. You know what I mean? It's like, and the fact of the matter is, like, even the people who establish the laws and this, that, and the third that people have to abide by, literally, they were the children of immigrants, people who came here illegally, right. You know what I mean? And slaughtered the people who were here. Right. So it's just like, what ground does anyone really have to stand on when discussing this? The fact of the matter,
it's hypocritical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they stole something and then said, we got to make sure we keep it ours.
Right.
And what you're seeing right now is no different than what happened when the slaves were freed. Mm-hmm. They needed to find a way to keep the populace a certain way. So they created laws, and I always tell, like Jalen or Jordan, you control the law, you control the land, you control the people.
Right.
So they made laws that say, okay, we're going to imprison you. You know what I mean? When it came to blacks, and I make this argument to a lot of black people that I get in this conversation with. I'm like, while you're observing the push against brown people, don't think that once they are controlled, you're not next, because that's basically what the idea was.
Right.
What the idea is. So, in order to control a populace, or in order to control a certain demographic or certain people, they had to create laws in order to say this is ours, and what's ours you have to apply for, or you have to do it a specific way, or else you don't get the fruits of the land, you don't get the benefits of it, which actually goes to them anyway.
Right.
But that's an even deeper story. So for me, it's hella hypocritical to call anybody lazy when, for one, this country was established and built on slave labor, which means that all the plantations that we were a part of, we were there based off of the owners not wanting to do the work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And let's push it even further. Today's, and this is going to tie into what I had to talk about when it came to sports. Today's corporate establishments are designed and molded and modeled after slave masters, after the slave mentality. You got somebody at the top, you got all the workers at the bottom. The workers at the bottom feed the pipeline to the ones at the top. They get the crumbs off the table, while the ones at the top get the riches and the spoils of everything.
Right.
That's the basic structure. You can look that up in music, the industry, or whatever. You can look that up in sports. You can look it up in corporate America. So when you say that people are lazy, you really need to look at the people that are benefiting from their work,
right,
and then associate what laziness is compared to somebody who's going to get their hands dirty.
Right.
So
you're not working hard enough to get the money I need.
Right. Right.
Right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous, man.
It really is. And,
Yeah.
you know, I feel, I understand the need to make everything legal. I understand, but you know, it's people that have migrated here, that have worked, and it's taken them like 15 years to get you know, to get citizenship. You know what happens in 15? How much can happen in that amount of time?
Right.
So it's not really a cut. I never look at anything as a cookie cutter solution.
Yeah.
No matter how much they spend it, it's not a cookie cutter solution. So to say, well, they can just do it this way, it's no such thing as just do it this way. It's different scenarios and everything doesn't fit. So
right. Yeah, man. I think the biggest thing is no matter what side of this you fall on, like it's just like the main word that everyone needs to keep in mind is just humanity, right? Like we need to make sure that whatever is being done. Hey, what's up, Malcolm? Malcolm Jackson, everybody. Just making sure that, like, you know, whatever we do, like when we're dealing with people, like people's humanity isn't stripped away. Because like when you're doing that, like besides taking someone else's humanity away, what you're really doing is stripping yourself of your own humanity, right? And so like, I mean, yo, like the stories are crazy. Like some of the stuff, you know, like the guy who recently died, like he was sent, I can't remember, I think it's some Middle Eastern country he was sent back to when he had never been, right? Like he was actually born, his parents were from that country, but he was born in another country, but living here in the United States. They didn't even send him to the country he was born in. They sent him to a different country. And then he was diabetic and he wasn't able to get the medicine he needed and ended up being homeless and died on the streets. And so, you know, it's just...
it's a very dangerous climate that we're in right now. Truth of the matter is, the country right now, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but the country right now is fighting for a position that ultimately they're going to lose in. Right. Whether you attempt to control it, it's almost like to the point where you have to embrace it. If I make a manifesto, and I don't really put any real thought behind it, I can't get mad at what comes of that manifesto. So when you create a document that says all men are created equal, and you create a document that says, you know, the home of the free, the land of the brave, you're welcoming in open arms without being specific as to who you're talking about. Right. So then later on to say, well, that was meant for us and not meant for you. Right. You know what I mean? It means it fights against everything that you're telling the people. It fights against everything that you want us to be known for. Right. You know what I mean? And I have a lot of feelings about where we are right now, and I don't want to go too deep into the rabbit hole. Right. But it's heartbreaking in a sense because I feel like the people. Well, first of all, I feel like we're repeating history. Second of all, it's almost like you're forced to pick a side. You know what I mean? And I don't want it to come down to picking a side, but you feel like it's a us versus them type mentality. And I hate that. Right. You know what I mean? I hate that. You know, so to me, it's heartbreaking in the sense to see that we are really stepping so far back to an ugly part of history. Without really any sign of it getting better anytime soon. You know what I mean? The whole El Paso thing. Right. The whole Dayton, Ohio thing. Right. You know what I mean? The whole mental health excuses. Like, you don't drive anywhere for 10 hours. That's a vacation time. Right. 10 hours. Right. You know what I'm saying? To take out... How much hate do you have? That's what I'm saying. Like it's crazy. 10 hours, though. Like, that's a trip from here to Georgia to kill a bunch of people. And it wasn't like, oh, I got a few people on my checklist that I'm going after. It's random. Right. It's like whatever I see that your color is, I'm aiming. You become a target specifically because of your hue, because of your skin tone. You are now a target. Right. For somebody who says, oh, well, you know, I feel a certain way about the demographics of this country. Okay, well, There's other ways, man. There's other ways. Again, I don't want to get too deep into it. I don't want to start, turning the show into something that it's not. But the fact that you drove 10
everything,
hours,
son.
yeah, I know. This is how we talk.
This is
how we talk when we get together. You know what I mean? And you guys are just being a part of, our world when it comes to being what I feel are intelligent black men and how we discuss world topics. But things are really scary right now. You know what I mean? And the scariness and the fact that we got kids growing up in this, you know what I mean? Like, I feel for my sons because they're young black boys, you know what I mean? And they're in a simulating situation where they're not surrounded by a whole bunch of us, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's a common blend, and while I think that's beautiful, it's also scary to me at the same time because I don't know what the next person is teaching their child.
Yeah. And then there's the added pressure of anytime you're a black person that's in a situation where there's a sea of everything else except you. You know what I mean? There's the added pressure of you're literally representing for your entire race.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you're representing for black people everywhere, no matter where. That's the default. Anything you do wrong in that situation, they're going to be like, you see? See, I told you.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, and then but somehow, no matter what good you do in the situation, that somehow doesn't get written off as that's just the norm, like amongst the people. You know what I mean?
And see, I'm gonna share with y'all my two sons. Like, they have Caucasian friends, they have Asian friends, and I tell them all the time, just out of precaution, like, these are conversations I have with them that I don't think that their white or Asian counterparts are having with their kids.
Right.
But I tell them, I said, listen, if you guys are out being kids, you're out playing, goofing around like we used to do. You know what I mean? Like, for us, it was nothing to go to the mall and holler at girls, or, you know what I mean, or just hang out and have fun. If you go out and you're with them and the law is brought in the midst of whatever you're doing, trust you me, they're going to make an example out of you before they make their friends. This is just the scary sadness of the world we live in today, where I feel like, you're going to have to, I burden him with my anxiety the day that they were born.
Right.
That's my anxiety. Whenever and I don't care what anybody says, when I'm around the law enforcement and everything, I feel a certain way that I'm sure that my white counterpart friends don't feel.
Right.
I automatically feel like, all right, make sure I'm cross-checking everything in my mind. Did I stop? Did I at a stop sign, did I bring the car to a complete stop? Is my seatbelt buckled? And all these things that cross my mind just from them being in the atmosphere. That type of anxiety is what we live with every day. Right. And I feel bad because I love my kids, but these are the things that I passed on to them the day that they were born. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the unfortunate reality of who it is to be me, who it is to be us. This is what we pass on. Right. And so I look at the Hispanics that are catching hell right now. I look at the the brown people of this country that are catching hell, and I'm like, you're witnessing exactly what it is to be black. I hate to say it, but this is what it is to be black, because you're labeled a certain thing. You got people looking to gun you down. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you do or what you provide to society. They always going to think less of you. Right. Anytime somebody can tell you go back where you came from when they're not even from here technically and everything, that's like the biggest slap in the face. Right. You know what I mean? That you can actually give somebody. You know what I mean? And it's demoralizing and it's degrading. But because they fear. The numbers are weighing against them or changing out of their favor. This is the makeup of all of that. Right. This is the makeup. They felt that they controlled black people by imprisoning us. They felt like they controlled us by putting us in messed up situations and projects and things like that. And that's the way that they kind of control a specific race. And now it's their turn. Right. And it's a sad, unfortunate thing. And and what's crazy is they've been dealing it's
it's unfortunate, but like even the struggles they're going through, like it's nothing new, and a decent amount of what they experience, like in certain situations, because like they deal with colorism in their own country.
What up, nephew?
Hey, what up, nephew? All right. Yeah, man, but yeah, man, they deal with a certain amount of stuff, a certain amount of oppression, a certain amount of violence, and like at home already. So it's nothing new. You know, it might be new in terms of how we're seeing it on this scale, but these are things that have been happening for a very long time. Right. But look, hey, we're gonna transition real quick because I feel like this is connected, right? Like, so you know, when we're talking about the issues of Black and brown people, I feel like this is a great way to transition to like hip hop, right? Yep. And so today, for those who don't know, today is August 11th, which means it's hip hop's official birthday. All right, so clap it up for hip hop one time, because if it wasn't for hip hop, you wouldn't be tuned in right now with us.
Yes, sir.
Peace to you, nephew. I see you up in this joint. But yeah, man. So real quick, we're gonna talk some hip hop stuff and then transition into some music. What up, Jasmine? Ice Killer, what up? But yeah, man. So for those who don't know, like when you think of, a lot of times when you say hip hop, people just think of rap music. Like they don't think of the culture. They don't think that's, yeah, man. They don't think of DJing. They don't think they don't necessarily think of beatboxing. They don't think of breaking. You know, graph art, so on and so forth, and the most important element, knowledge. You know what I mean? And so, but like, just to kind of tie it into what we as people of color have done for years. So with hip hop, when it was born, like, and so look, let me say something real quick for any of you who sometimes hear like gangster rap and get judgmental, right? And basically be like say things like, oh, that's not real hip hop, this, that, and the third. Like, gang culture, you cannot separate gang culture from hip hop, because the so-called gangbangers, the so-called gangsters, those were the dudes who helped give birth to hip hop, right? That's why so many so many elements of it are kind of around things like when you see b-boys dance and different b-boy crews going against each other, and it looks like right, it looks like a fight, right, a physical exchange. So like, you know, when you look up old footage where these b-boys are talking about, like, you know, the fact that like, yo, they trying to keep the peace at the party and they doing these different moves, and it's like signifies like what's going to potentially happen when everything's said and done, you know what I mean, or what they trying to avoid for real. But like, I got a recommendation, and I feel like I've recommended it on the show before. If you've never seen a documentary called Rebel Kings, definitely check it out. It's a great documentary film that talks about the early years before hip hop was born in the Bronx, right? And so, and it talks about the different gangs, and it talks about the movie Warriors and how that's loosely based off of something that really happened, where they were trying to bring a group of brothers called themselves the Ghetto Brothers, who were bringing the different gangs together to create like a peace treaty and stuff. And so it was our people who did this, right? Like, it was Black and brown boys and girls who basically did this. When the cops couldn't come in and stop the gang violence, when the local government couldn't come in and stop the gang violence, a bunch of young folk, like between ages like 13 to like 19 years old, you know, got these different gangs together all in one room and created a peace treaty that made it safe enough for people to go in different communities. And then you saw the block party start to happen and all of these different things. And people like Kool Herc, peace to Kool Herc, you know, DJing at these events and bringing things from his culture from the islands, bringing things from Jamaican culture here to the States that all help lay the foundation for what we now call hip hop. So hip hop will forever be political. There's no separating politics from hip hop, because the politics that was happening in New York that created the climate that existed in New York is ultimately what gave birth to the culture. But you can't separate gang culture from hip hop, because it helped birth hip hop. And there's no way you can separate like having knowledge yourself and educating yourself through any means, whether it's in the school system or outside of the school system, because that is very much a part of hip hop culture as well. So
I think hip hop is the most beautiful thing to come from struggle.
Man, listen.
I think it really is. You know what I mean? And when you associate the birth of it and the reason why it was birthed, you realize that, and this for anybody that's going through anything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can create beauty out of any struggle, out of anything you're going through in life. You can create beauty from that, and hip hop is a perfect example of that. Now, whether you like where it is right now, or whether you like where mainstream has taken it right now, you still can't deny that the original form of it, the original beauty of it, was to tell a story that was never told. You know what I mean? And it was from struggle, and it's a perfect example of what we're talking about and what we're going through today.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's dope. And happy birthday, hip hop, man.
That's man. Love you forever. That's a dope acronym for hip hop right there. What was it? Higher infinite power, helping our people. That's dope. Yeah. That's dope.
Nah, Cash, Black American culture is. I don't know what. I get it. I said the most beautiful thing that came from struggle was hip hop. He's saying Black American culture.
Right.
That's a good, but that's a part of.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It's all connected.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? So, apples and oranges. What something, because you can't say that hip hop was the first expressive thing that came from Black culture.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had jazz. You had blues. You know what I mean? You had all these other forms of expression that came from struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So hip hop wasn't the first. It just, in my selfish opinion, it was the most beautiful.
It's very specific to our current situation, like where we are now. There are many things that came before, but in terms of like our generation, because we are the hip hop generation, and so it's very much like we're tied to it, whether you like it or not. Even people who don't even consider themselves hip hop heads or whatever. Like there's no escaping it. Like it's touch. If you're in this current generation, it's touched your life in some way, shape, or form. It's definitely like it's the highest. It's the top selling music of today. You know what I mean? You see it marketed it's marketed everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it's in everything. So there's no escaping it. You know what I mean? And so man. But since we talking hip hop, let's talk music. Shout out to Funky DL. His tracks playing in the background. Marcus D and the homie Seb Zillner dropped a new single on Friday. The joint is super dope. If you love live instrumentation, you love jazz samples. It's just dope music. I highly recommend you check it out.
And the sax sample was beautiful.
Yeah, oh yeah, man. And then Seb come in. Shout out to Seb Zillner, because some of his music's actually in the playlist is playing. Then he comes in after the sax sample playing live sax. Like the joint is just crazy. So I highly recommend you check out that single if you haven't heard it already. Also, other music that came out, Sir and Kendrick Lamar dropped a new single and video. Whew. Yeah. Oh my God. Hey, the joint is super dope. The video's fire too, man. The car with no wheels just out here floating. I got goosebumps. Like when I saw the joint, I'm like, are there no wheels on the joint? The way they made it look in the video is so clean, man. And then and just how it ties in with the theme of the song. It's Sir, so you know that I'm talking about smoking. You know what I'm saying? You know what they expect with him.
Miami just dropped a few albums too. And what I mean by that is DJ Khaled came out with his, but just this past week, Rick Ross came out with Port of Miami too, which I did give a couple spins. It's not bad. It's got a couple tracks on there.
He always got his beats is always crazy. Rick Ross slap. Rick Ross is great at picking production, man. Like you cannot like that band all you want, but you cannot deny that dude's ear for music. Right. Yeah, from his first single. Yeah. From Hustling, you know what I mean, to today.
The album is so Miami. And for those, go listen, give it a try or whatever. Picture yourself riding down Ocean Ave, you know what I mean? Or Biscayne or whatever, whoever. You know what I mean? And rocking that Rick Ross joint. You'll feel what I'm saying. It's so Miami, but it's a quality album worth listening to. Anybody else?
What was I going to say? I was going to say about the Rick Ross joint. The Nipsey joint.
Yes.
Nipsey joint.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
So, as much as you like the Rick Ross album, it's been floating on Twitter a verse that Pusha T was supposed to go on the Port of Miami 2 album, but they removed it. Because in that verse, he was flaming Drake.
Wow.
He was flaming Drake again. When it was going on, he was flaming Drake again, as well as a couple other people. Verse is super sick. When I find it on Twitter, I'm going to tag.
Send me that joint.
So, So, because of politics, Ross removed, I don't know if Ross per se, but the verse got removed from the Port of Miami too. But when I find it, I'll make sure you get a listen.
I was like, come on, man. Leave that boy alone, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, he's not playing. So it's not even fair no more.
Disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
It's not even fair no more.
So I think anybody else. Boss dropped something new too. He dropped the EP. Was it on that joint? He got Jid is on there. What was it? Earth Gang's on there. Ari Lennox is on there. The joint's solid. I gotta play it some more. And see. Anybody heard the new YBN Corday? We were just talking about that joint last week, Tsunami Jazz. Yeah, so I highly recommend you check out YBN joint. Yo, he from the area. From the area. You know what I mean? He actually was, I think, born and raised in North Carolina and then came here close to like middle school age or whatever. He came up here.
I heard
his joint it's definitely, man, like, it's dope. Like what I said to Sherm, like in terms of rappers around his age, like in their first debut project, like it's strong. Like it's a really strong album. Like you know what I mean. Like and it's because it's dope not just for his age group or whatever. It's just dope. Period. Like I hold that joint up against most of the albums that people call like the top albums of the year. Because I definitely see myself playing the hell out of that joint.
That's big.
So shout out to YBN Corday repping the area well. Also
solid 9.5.
I definitely the lowest I could see myself giving that joint is like a strong 8. A real strong 8. But it got replay value. A lot of replay value. Got dope content. Yo, why the joint with Anderson .Paak, that joint sound like an old Eric Sermon type beat. And these Bammers is bodying that joint. What's dope is he flexes between like new school production and production that's from our era. And he ride over either like it's nothing. So yeah, man, shout out to YBN Corday for the dopeness he put out. Shout out to Nephew, since you up in this joint, man.
Yes,
congratulations again to Wealth and myself, you know what I mean? Because I had something to do with it. Our EP Bridges is out right now. There's a link in the description. The joint is doing well.
Keep supporting.
Yo,
keep playing that thing back to back till you know all the lyrics of that joint.
Man, look, Nephew went from 11 monthly listeners to right now he's at like 67 or 69,000 monthly listeners. That's where Nephew at right now. The EP is currently on like at least 3 official Spotify playlists.
Exactly, Joshua.
Put Josh
humble brag.
Hey man, look, you know what I'm saying? You know, look, I ain't gonna wait for nobody to say it. I'll say it. You know what I'm saying? I say what I say. Like, yo, man, the joint is doing well, man. We I think we just hit like 100,000 streams of the EP. So yeah, man, like the joint is killing. 92 Babies doing well. Day 202 is starting to like really take off because it just got added to 2 big playlists. It's just dope to see, man. Like I'm really, really proud of my nephew, man. You know, we're working on some new music. I'm trying to push him, kind of step out of his comfort zone a little bit. I just let him do his thing on the EP. I ain't really say much, just like go ahead and rap. And like he killed it, man. And he said, yes sir, I'm happy as hell. Yeah, man. Hey, look, you're going to be real happy when that first check roll in, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, right.
Look at that.
Yeah, because look, for those who don't know how streaming works, like, you see your joint doing all these numbers, but you don't get that first check till like 2 to 3 months after that project drops. So the streams he's seeing right now, like, he don't even know what it looked like for real. He don't know what the first check gonna look like. So when that joint roll in, like, hit me in and talk about how happy you are, nephew. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, congrats, yo. And so, yo, I also shout out to Tsunami, aka Jasmine, because we just had our phone conversation this week. So the next EP I'll be looking to produce will be for Tsunami. That's the one, like, show the video. So yeah. So we working on something.
I already seen and checked her out. She's dope.
Yeah, man. And so, hey, so Jazz, if you cool with it, and Wealth, if you open to it, man, like, we try to get y'all to do a collab on that joint, or like as a bonus cut or something. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get the people I'm working with to work together. You know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Yeah, man. But
from Mugen.
Mugen says, Stan, while you're talking about hip hop, I had 2 questions for you. How did meeting / working with Nujabes change you, and how different would your music be had you never met him? Let's see. In terms of how it changed me, it definitely it tried my patience a lot, right? Like, I had to really. It was the first time me working on a project of that nature, like, outside of the country, and on top of that, doing 20 plus songs with someone who I just met in person the day he picked me up from the airport. Like, we had only communicated through, like, email, you know what I mean? So we had never really, we didn't really know each other. So it taught me how to, like, it taught me a lot about compromise, like, to the point where it was, like, uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you're really fighting to not lose your own voice and how you want to do things, but you're trying to be respectful of the fact that, you know, my man put up a lot of money to bring me out there and he's investing in me. So you want to be respectful, but at the same time, you don't want to sacrifice too much. Yeah, you got to be. And so that's definitely something that changed me. It made me, I think, stronger at when I work with people going forward, really laying it out on the table in terms of what the expectations are to avoid certain conflict and avoid certain stress. Because we definitely were at each other, like, constantly, like, no, you don't get it, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, and it was challenging. It was really, really challenging. It was also challenging because, yo, like, I had a whole crew back home. Cash was a part of that crew. And yo, like, none of my crew got to be on my debut album. And so, you know, so that created issues at home. That created issues in the studio because I was collaborating with artists out there. And I had to tell him, I'm like, yo, while I like these tracks, I can't put them on my album. My crew ain't on my album. So I'm definitely not putting random rappers who I just met on the album. You know what I mean? So there was a lot that went on behind the scenes with that. But how different would my music be had I never met him? I would say
that's tough to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of know though. I think I know. Like, I feel like we always, because I was collecting records back then, like, we were always sampling jazz and soul. Right. Yeah, so like, I don't feel like the sound would be too far from what it is right now, because that was all. I think that's ultimately why he knew he could step to me to do production for me, is because he heard some of those elements already in the stuff that I sent to him. Right. And so I don't think sonically it'd be too different. I do think that I probably would be way deeper into the whole battle side of things had I not met him.
Because that's yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah. Because and you know, depending on y'all who watching, depending on what you listen to from me, right?
It's
like,
different dude.
Yeah, man.
It's
like,
I'm not, and it's not that it's not one's better than the other. It's for those that don't know you from back then,
right?
Like, it's growth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, it's I personally can vouch for that part,
right,
of you. I've seen growth. Now you still were very capable. You know what I mean. Especially when you hear songs like what's the joint you did with Q&5?
Have to fuck your songs.
True. AK, but it'll
break it faithfully. You hate this meditating. Yeah.
So spit heavy like that, but then turn around and do a song, you know, like is you, I think. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I've seen that balance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So look, Mugen pointed out. I mean, look, the opening lines from the album that Nujabes produced, like the opening lines, like "I'm the one you don't want to fuck with. I suggest you practice safe sex." That's how the whole album starts.
Yeah.
Like there's an intro, and then the first song drops, and that's the opening line. So I was definitely. Look, Bananas, Bananas, that joint.
It was spit heavy.
Yeah, yo, like, yeah, Bananas was disrespectful. Like, yo, you couldn't suck seed if you were swallowing my babies. Yo, like, it was, so I, like, and one of the things that Nujabes even put in the fun fact, the song that Malcolm Jackson is talking about right now, Fuck You, I Rhyme Better, which you were quoting, the original version, because that version you're quoting, that's the remix. Mm-hmm. The original version was supposed to be on that album, but we weren't able to work out some technicality with the dude who co-produced the track. And that's the only reason why it wasn't. But I definitely feel like if I hadn't started working with Nujabes, I'd probably be doing way more battle stuff.
Mind you, you were in Brooklyn at the time.
Battling heavy.
Yeah, so it's... You know, you kind of could get trapped in that genre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which ain't always a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, because most battle MCs don't make great albums.
Thank you.
Yeah, and most battle rappers don't make great albums. So
thank you. And I follow like battle culture a lot. And one of the things that I've noticed is that even still, a lot of them can't make great albums. Some of them can make great songs, but a lot of them can't put it all together. You know what I mean? So it's a good thing, you know what I mean? To see you go from where you were then and to evolving to who you are now.
Look, man, I'm gonna say something, and it's gonna make some of y'all like it might make some of y'all feel away. But yo, like, just from a business standpoint, right? When the first album came out, and when I started to see what singles were doing well, I realized like super early in my career that the songs, when I like kind of softened up and talked like and did more introspective stuff, talked about what I was going through, stuff that a lot of people aren't comfortable with rapping about. When I did those tracks, those songs were the ones that was getting the most rotation, right? Like when the streaming sites came around eventually, because at the time I did my first album, iTunes didn't even exist, right? And so like, but when those sites came about, I started noticing that the songs that were about more personal stuff and the more emo songs, those songs were streaming way heavier. They were like the softest songs I was doing was getting the most play. Yeah. And my wife even said one time, you know, like I was working on this battle rap joint. I had a beat playing in the background. I might spit the joint. I remember the joint. I was like, oh yeah, the joint go like this, right? It go like this. It goes like, yo, I steal your face, then I steal the show. Now you can't feel your face, no one feels your flow. You is a joke, and you got no skill. He like 5'3", trying to shot block old Neil. And he look real funny with balls on your neck. You're just a big dummy that lost your respect. I'm awesomely fresh. Patent pending, y'all stand for nothing, backs are bending, the rap, something, it just keeps on going, right? So like I did a whole song with that little joint. My wife hear it because at that point I stopped doing as much.
She probably was like, yeah, that's cool.
Hey, she hear the joint. And she say to me, I feel like you're trying too hard. And like just deflated my, because at that point I wasn't doing as much battle stuff. Right. And keep in mind, dog, like there are lines that verse, that's just the warm up. Like when it gets, by the time it gets,
opening bar.
Oh so my God, bro.
That's when you hit it with the heaviest.
Oh my God, but she heard the whole shit.
I know.
And she just basically was like, I feel like you're trying too hard. she said everything, but I think your time's come and gone. Yeah, sit there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, it was one of them things, like, I know for a fact if I hadn't worked with Nujabes, y'all probably, like, but a good 70 to 80% of my catalog been like, man, fuck these niggas. I rap way better than you. And then it just turned in, Yeah, she straight up killed me with no bar. Like, yo, she was on Get Back. Fun fact, I'm gonna bring her on the show next week. Yeah, I'm gonna bring her in. Cause one time we was all hanging with our friends and she was trying to freestyle and shit. Right? And yo, she was coming for me, son. She was talking shit or whatever. And then I hit her with like half a bar. I pulled my Jay-Z, hit her with half a bar because she was a fashion major and shit. And I was like, some people should stop flowing and stick to sewing. Hey, so I feel like when she came through years later and crushed my whole shit,
she's gonna get back.
She's gonna get back.
She was like, yeah,
she's gonna get back for sure, man. Yeah. She definitely won the war. You know what I'm saying?
Like 5 years, that's nothing. I can wait.
Oh, I'ma wait. Yeah, man. So she just crushed my whole spirit and shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I still like will write battle joints here and there and stuff. Like, matter of fact, for those of you who are on Patreon, if you're on Patreon, the first joint that I posted.
Patreon.
Yes, please, man. We at 26. Please. We struggling
we can do
at that
nice
50
podcast.
I'm just saying, let's get there.
Voices,
you know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? And hear us talk about any and everything. You get the real us on the podcast. Right. I mean, not that you're not, you know what I mean? But yeah, our conversations go further than just hip hop. We talk about a little bit of everything. But
absolutely.
Support Patreon. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. But yeah, like, so just going back to what Mugen was saying, like, definitely I probably would have gone in a very different direction because I was in the battle scene heavy down here before I moved to New York. When I got to New York, that was definitely it. I'm like, there's some rappers that y'all know, like, you know what I mean, like big, like, man, look, I was in some of the same battles with cats, like some of the same stuff that Immortal Technique and stuff was out here battling. Me, him, Pack FM, all these dudes, we was out here running real crazy. Shout out to Poison Pen, my man I Am Mini, I Am Mini, who used to go by Mini Styles. He's homeboys with homeboy Sandman. That me and that dude, we used to go at it all the time, man. That was like my arch nemesis in the battle scene. But shout out to that brother, man, and so many other like dope dudes from Tone to PH, man. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Yeah, man. Just all these dudes who helped keep me sharp. You know what I mean? And you know, man, those are good times. So, you know. Yeah, so you still gonna hear some, you know, I'm always gonna slip with battle.
I love battle rhymes.
Yeah, I love battle
rhymes. When you can just get up in the air. It's dope. But people connect to songs that they relate to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Point blank period. Well, if you're listening, people connect to songs they relate to the most, man. So whatever you feeling, as long as it comes off authentic, talk about it. Talk about it, man. People want to know who you are. You know what I mean? It's the best way to show them who you are. Have you heard of
Hami Han? So maybe not, but he was a great battle rapper. No, I'm not familiar with Hami Han.
I never heard of him either.
I'm familiar with Juice though, from Chicago. Juice is one of the greatest off the head rappers ever. And Juice was a good dude, man. Kicked it with him a few times. But yeah, man, like one of the battles I won, they almost made me, the winner was originally supposed to go up against Supernatural. Yeah. And when they tell me this after I win the battle, they was like, yeah, so, originally the surprise joint, like Supernatu's gonna be it. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, that's gonna be done. He's like, yeah, nah, you was supposed to battle him. I was like, oh.
They trying to set you up.
About that. And they was like, nah, it's cool, man. He just said he chilling tonight. I was like, yeah, that's right.
To pull off your greatest 8 mile. You know
right. Like, I had to go back to the whip for that one. You know what I'm saying? The little handgun I had wasn't going to get it. Go get the bazooka. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let's bring this full circle. It's hip-hop's birthday. Can you remember, and this is going to be a hard challenge, and for those that's listening too, can you remember the first hip-hop song that inspired you the most? Those that's watching, type it in too. What's the first hip-hop song that inspired you the most? Like what? This sound like some Brown Sugar type thing. No, it's not, but yeah, it is in a sense. I know mine over there. I just want to hear if you could come up with yours.
It's so
Cash is real because when I was listening to Sub's backstory about how he was a black nerd, it really made me think about that's what I meant, Josh. People connect to songs that they like. You know what I mean? They listen to songs that they connect to the most.
Yeah. Oh man, it's damn. Damn, dog, it's tough. Like, I remember when Ghetto Boys dropped 6 Feet Deep.
Yeah.
That joint, like, definitely, cause where we were like, that's like 8th or 9th grade.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But at that point in time in my life, like for over a 5-year period, I had lost like 3 people a year from my family. You know what I mean? And so I had been to more funerals than I had ever been. So I remember when that joint, when that Ghetto Boys joint first played on the radio, and they had that sample, "It's far too many of you down." That Marvin Gaye sample, "Slow Down," dog, like that joint hit me in my soul, like and it was just one of them examples of like, yo, I just didn't really see rap music being able to do that. Then another joint that like really just kind of crushed me was when Common did "Retrospect for Life," the joint with Lauryn Hill. That $315 ain't worth your soul, dog. So I'm a huge Stevie Wonder fan. Huge Stevie Wonder fan. So Lauren singing Stevie's "I Never Dreamed You Leaving Summer" joint, because I got my feelings about that song already from my summer crush the year I had that song. When that song first came out, so I got personal connection to that song. But then they flipped it to talk about abortion, yo, and yeah, and that was the first song that made me cry. Like when he said that line, dog, the single tear, I was like, oh,
$15 ain't worth your soul.
Yeah, man.
Public Enemy Fight the Power. Okay.
Yeah, okay. That was my joint too.
Yeah.
But so what was yours?
Mine was Rakim. I don't run out of chill or be acting ill. No tricks in 86. It's time to build.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Rakim.
Yeah.
I can't, because, back in the hood, especially around my grandmother's way, you was listening to Rakim, you used to listen to Milk, audio too.
The Two's audio.
Yeah.
I got a brother, man. This thing is
so for me, Rakim resonated before anybody, you know what I mean? And that's when I started paying more attention to hip hop. Also, too, the Run DMCs of the world, the Run DMC songs of the world, they were also a part of it too. So for me, I gotta say it was Rakim, because like every time they played something of his back then, it was dope, and it had classic bars that you remember today. You can't go nowhere and say I came in the door, said it before without somebody dropping the next bar for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're talking classics, all-time great songs, and that for me was it.
Yeah, man, and it's crazy. It's so many. It's so Happy birthday hip hop. Like at one point, it got too hard to pick a song, like because it's so many, right? And so I started doing like my song of that particular year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
there's no way you can pick a particular hip hop song.
It's hard. Yeah. I remember when Organized Confusion dropped that song "Stress." The crush, kill, destroy, stress. Hey, that video was so hard, dog.
Sherm, you still watching? I'm sorry. So I want to do a snippet with us when you come back. Who spit it? Okay, I'm gonna bring bars that I actually write down.
That's dope.
And I'm gonna have you two in the watching audience see who can figure out who spit it. I thought that was something that I think that you would enjoy the most. I just saw Wayne from middle school, fellas.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So
that's crazy. That's
crazy. Say what up, man.
That's crazy. So we'll say what's up.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so we're going to start doing those segments if you don't mind.
Oh, I'm with it.
I think that'd be fun.
That would be awesome.
You know who we used to rock to a while ago that people really don't talk about no more?
Thank you, Jazz. I appreciate that.
Onyx.
Oh, yeah, Onyx. Hey, young, let me tell you something about Sticky Fingers, dog.
Yeah.
That dude, hey, so look, Marcus D knows this because we've traveled a lot together, right? I have an appreciation for real ignorant ass verses. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it can't be, like, you can't just say, like, ignorant shit for the sake of saying, I'm about, like, it's like what Sean P said, like, when Monkey Bars that album come on, and he's like, yo, this is ignorance at its finest. It's like, yes! You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like seeing a really, really, like, raunchy or, like, disrespectful comedy. But the shit is so creative. The writing is excellent. Like, you should not be laughing at this shit.
Right.
But it's fucking done well. You know what I mean? And that's what stand-up comedy is for the most part. What happened?
He said artists made crime rate in cities go up.
Hey, yo. Hey, I'm with you, bro. Hey, look. That joint was it. They think about taking my own life.
I
might as well. Except they might not sell weed in hell. And that's where I'm going, because the devil's inside of me. He make me buy from my own nationality. Yo. It's kind of ignorant, but yo, I gotta pay the rent. So yeah, I was a nigga most definite. The degenerate, if I come innocent, because I won't leave no sticky fingerprints. Yo. For the cops, they only good if they dead. All that badge and that gun shit be going to their head. Hey, youngin', that verse.
I'm trying to tell you, they don't get enough love.
Yo, Sticky was disgusting,
yeah. And then they
Fredro was nice too, man. Yeah, man.
Oh, I can't remember that song.
Yo. My joint was these evil streets is rough.
Yeah.
Ain't no one we can trust. Either roll the rush or get rushed. Hey, yo, I can't play them dudes. Like, if I can't play it with my kids in the car. Like, hey, that joint make you look. Somebody honk the horn, you gonna get out fighting. That joint play. Hey, bro, like.
Between artists and
right now.
Between artists and yeah, no doubt. I'm trying to tell you. And the reason why, because I saw them come up on Facebook last week, and I was like, you know, these dudes really don't get enough recognition. You know what I mean? Between artists and MOB, somebody was fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they was dope, man. They was dope.
Oh yeah, Mob Deep.
Guns in the air, no doubt.
Oh yeah,
no
Mob Deep too, man. Mob Deep is like, yo, that joint Eye for an Eye. Oh, come on, bro.
Stop playing with me.
Son, look, Prodigy got some of the hardest lines ever in hip hop. That nigga said, "Don't make me have to risk my freedom." The other joint, like, "Come to my crib, you get it for shit." He's like, "Yo, it'd be a homicide right in front of my kids. A little blood get on my daughter. There's nothing she'll live." Whoa, sir! Like, hey, yo, it's like I got appreciation for dudes like that, who are like creative and they got like bars that are just like, yo, they different.
Good night, Tsunami. She's waving.
Peace, yo. Hey, thanks again, yo. I ain't know that jazz, man. That waiting for the clouds joint. That's one of my that is one of two songs that are my favorite songs I did with Nujabes. And so yeah, man. So when people talk to me about that joint, like, it hit me in the heart. So I'm glad you resonated with that joint, and I think somebody else in the comment was talking about the first verse from that. Yeah, man, it was definitely a bittersweet joint to do because it was the last song I did with him. But peace, Jazz. We'll be building soon. She just hit the studio too, recording for our project,
that's
man.
That's a crazy project.
Yeah, I'm excited, man.
Can't wait for that one.
I'm excited. Yeah, it's gonna be dope. Havoc's hella underrated producer. Yeah, Havoc had crazy productions. Yeah, he had crazy.
He's one of my favorites. Havoc production is dope, man.
Yeah, we used to debate about like me and Sherm always. I mean, me and Cash always debate about like groups where it's like two members. Yeah. Like, you know, cause we almost never agree on who we like more. So he always was a Havoc dude, and I was always a Prodigy dude.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? But I feel like they, you know, like
they complimented each other.
Yeah, they really did, man. And technically, like, no matter how you slice it, even though I still feel like Prodigy was a better wordsmith, but when you think about the beats that Havoc was cranking out, and I know this as a producer, like, dog, it's hard to keep your bar game at a certain level when you spending that much time making that much heat. Yeah, and so for him to even be able to compete with that dude while he was doing dual roles for the group was a feat in itself. So shout out to Havoc, man. Definitely an underrated producer, man. And he's produced hits for a rack of folks, not just for Mobb Deep, but he had some bangers for Nas. He had bangers for even with Biggie. I think he did a joint on Biggie's Life or Death album as well. But yeah, man. Yeah, Doom got bars too. Doom is super dope. But yeah, somebody was talking about Sean P. Sean P is. Yeah, come on, y'all. He's like, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Boot can't clip, ain't nothing to Wu-Tang. He's just so witty with the joint. I ain't gonna say that on camera. I was about to say one of his real ignorant joints. I ain't gonna say that on camera. Yeah, man, it's gonna be some idiot who don't know. He said it and I get blamed. I ain't gonna do it. I'll share it with Cash when the camera go off. off. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, hip hop, y'all.
Yeah, man.
Rap, man.
Birthday.
Yeah, man. Real quick, there's some announcement. Oh, one show I didn't mention, man, that y'all should check out. If you're just looking for something silly to watch, a Black Lady sketch show. That joint, I've seen a couple clips. We watched the first episode last night. Shit had us dying. It was really, really dope. We also went to a comedy show last night. Let me look up this dude's name real quick. Hold on.
Was it improv?
We were at the DC Law, DC Comedy Law.
Okay.
It's a cool little spot. Look like the struggle. You know what I mean? It's in a neighborhood that clearly isn't the struggle, but the spot itself looked like the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on, I'm trying to remember. Comedian with. Okay, I'll let that be.
Definitely. That's a baby.
Yeah, there you go. Hold on. I think his name was Samuel J. Comroe. That's who we went to see. He's a dude from LA who
Facts, Joshua.
He's a dude in LA who he's a comedian that has Tourette's. The dude is he is so funny.
Does that happen on stage?
Like you see him fighting through his Twitch. Like, you see him fight through his Twitch while he's doing it. But dog, like he is great. Next time he come through, I'll let you know.
Please do.
Cause
Naughty by Nature's another one, definitely.
Yeah, Naughty by Nature, yo. Come on. This ain't got shit to do with shampoo, but watch your Head and Shoulders.
Yeah.
Come on, dog. Like they were super dope too. Crazy how many original stories you hear from it. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's facts.
Hold on. What Ice Killer say? Hold on. I'm trying to get back. I'd say Madlib's production ain't that. Agree to disagree, sir. Ain't that good? No. You know why Madlib is such a beast? And this is really on some like Ice Killer, you my mans, but fuck your feelings. Yo. Madlib is a beast because you will hear something he did that'll sound like just a straight up loop. But what he does that makes it really, really dope. This is a conversation me and J Soul have all the time. What he does is he samples percussion that basically sounds like it belongs with the sample, and he programs it in a way where it sounds like the elements he's added to the sample, they sound like it's just one sample. It doesn't sound like he added a bunch of stuff. But when you see the sessions, when you see joints where he break down the beats, like dog, like it's something. And then when you hear the sample, the original sample, and you realize what was added to it, like yo, Madlib's a beast. The beats he did on. Matter of fact, man, I say it straight up. Like I feel like Bandanas is probably the best produced album I've heard this year. And I say that without flinching. You know what I mean? But yeah, he inspired Dilla more than anyone else. I don't doubt it, y'all, because like Dilla was nasty, and the fact that Dilla was like, I'm gonna do a project with this dude, and I'm only gonna rap on his beats, and he only gonna rap on mine, and Dilla's like the greatest to ever do it. Bare minimum, top 3 greatest to ever do it on the production tip. You know?
It's about to get ugly.
I mean, look, hey, Ice Killer, I keep it 100 with you. I think Bandanas, I think it's a solid album. I liked it a lot, but I think the production is the star of the show on the joint. Definitely, what you call got bars, like Freddie Gibbs got bars on the joint. But the production's crazy. It's cool. You can not like it. It don't change nothing over here, B, because them beats was fire, son. Fire. But yeah, let's see. I was right now. If you don't stop. Let's see. Anything else we mentioned?
They just going in on Ice.
Oh, they going in on Ice. It's all good, man. Ice Killer, you know. He said, "Try me, Johnny." It sounded like something like "Try me, Johnny." It's like from an old movie.
Oh, speaking of old movies, they're making a cartoon version of The Last Dragon.
Word.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's look dope. It looked dope.
Yo. I gotta look that up, dog.
Yeah.
That's gonna be crazy.
Too. Yeah, that's gonna be sick, man.
Yo, you heard the updates on Coming to America too? You heard what they were saying?
No, I haven't heard what I know that it's supposed to be coming.
Yeah.
I'm scared though.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? Because to me, it's like you don't want to go back 20 plus years,
come in
and mess up a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hey. Oh, nice. I see y'all was working on the joint. I like the dots on the arm. That's actually dope. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We got Serenity up in this drum.
How you doing?
She's trying to cover up her cast. You know what I mean? One arm looking like she real strong. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But yeah, no, man. They just confirmed that they got my man who played Oha, the singing dude.
Okay.
He's
returning.
So he's returning. They got James Earl Jones. He's returning.
Okay.
Yo, they added Wesley Snipes to the cast.
What kind of storyline are they supposed to be?
So the storyline that I've heard so far. See you later, baby. All right.
Bye bye.
The storyline that I've heard that they're adding to the joint. He said Princess swear jar full effect. Speedy but yo, so like, they said that the storyline, he's supposed to be coming back to America because he has an heir or whatever that's here, like a son. Like I don't know if they parted ways, like him and the queen or whatever. And then like basically he discovers that he has a son here, so he comes back for them. So that's the storyline I've heard so far. I don't know how true that is, but that's the rumor that's going around right now. And then I heard that Wesley Snipes has been added to the cast, and he's supposed to be like the head of his like the general, like the head of his like military or something like that.
So they made Blade.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Blade in Africa. Yeah, I mean, it's fingers crossed. Like, so Eddie's working on that. Eddie's also working on a return to stand up as well.
Yeah, I know about stand up.
So yeah, man, and it's a different day and age because Eddie was definitely one of those comedians that did a lot of offensive material. Yeah, like I mean, we laughed real hard back in the day, but like the type of material he was known for doing or whatever, it's not a lot of mainstream comedians that can kind of get away with saying some of the stuff he used to say, and still have a career. You know what I'm saying? Or at least a really, really successful one.
I'm just worried.
So yeah, I mean,
because you don't want to mess up a classic. You know what I'm saying? And you're only as good as your last. And I just hope that this transition is going to be as good or as impactful as the first Coming to America, because that's one of my favorite movies. Period. You know what I mean? So hopefully they do justice by it. You know what I mean? I'm crossing my fingers. I'm going in reserved. Crossing my fingers.
I think where I'm at with it is like I think it's something that people always wanted. It's maybe a little late in the game to do it now. But because a good amount of the cast are all still around, like a good majority of them are still around. I mean, if they do it right, if it's really well written, it could be dope. I think that what I am interested to see is that Dolomite movie that they finished filming. Yeah, because Eddie and Wesley Snipes is in that, and they got everybody up in that joint too. Yeah. So that looks like it's going to be great as well.
Can they translate the same type of comedy like they did in Harlem Nights?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Well, have you watched the episode of Comedians in Cars Drinking Coffee with Eddie Murphy?
Nah.
Hey, he's still funny as a motherfucker.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, I think...
Let's put this.
Yeah.
When Menace to Society came out, we just knew, it's going to be a part 2.
Right.
Imagine them like 2020 Menace to Society Part 2. It's like, you know what I'm saying? That's how it feels.
So bad,
you know what I'm saying? That's how it feels. Like, then granted, they two different genres.
That's very different. Yeah.
But the point is, like, we wanted
the Ghost of Kane.
Right.
Menace 2, the Ghost of Kane.
We wanted a Part 2 20 years ago to say, all right, we're going to reboot, or not reboot it, but we're going to do a Part 2 like many years down the line, dog. That's risque. So hopefully they cross over. You know
I mean, yo, I think it's going to do numbers. I think the main issue is the writing. Yeah. If they get the writing right, everything else is going to be okay because the talent's there. I don't think it's a question of the talent. Yeah. Like, it's not a question of if Eddie's still funny. You talk to, like, if you watch interviews with any comedian that has hung out with Eddie Murphy in the last few years, one of the things you hear all of these dudes say, especially when you watch the joint with him and Jerry Seinfeld, like Seinfeld is gushing, dog. Like he's like giddy. Like this dude loves Eddie, and he keeps trying to make comparisons. Like, see how much we got in common? And you never see him like this.
Nah.
You know what I mean? But just to see how revered the dude is, yeah. And so, but all of the comedians always say they like, yo, he's still the funniest dude in the room. And so I think if they get a great writer, they'll be all right. But if they get a terrible writer, I can't see him winning.
How much is he going to have?
Well, he wrote the first one.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, like, he wrote the first one.
And how much of part two is he going to be involved in?
Yeah.
If it's in his hands, I'm confident. If
Right.
it's in somebody else's hands, I'm reserved. That's how I feel.
Yeah, as long as the studio ain't controlling it, he'll be all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So, I'm excited. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be dope to see Arsenio and Eddie in a movie together again too.
Joshua, I know I owe 2 sports updates.
Oh yeah, word. We ain't getting the sports.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
Rematch for Ruiz Joshua is scheduled for this December. That's the heavyweight rematch of a big upset that happened earlier this year. It's not in the States though. It's going to be in Saudi Arabia. So that's going to be crazy. And the NFL has more problems. Starting with Kenny Stills and the Dolphins owner, Mr. Ross. Mr. Ross just raised a whole bunch of money, $12 million to be exact, for a fundraiser for Donald Trump. It's pretty much separating the locker room right now because the players feel a specific way. Trump has also came out and asked about Colin Kaepernick and his return to the NFL, and he seems to have done a 180, saying, well, yeah, he thinks he should return if he's good enough. Which to me is like you're either campaigning for, you're working, right, exactly. So NFL right now is losing a lot of my respect.
I ain't watched the game in almost 4 years.
I know, and I boycotted the season that Kaepernick was blackballed. The next following season I boycotted, and I just picked it up again last year. I gave it a shot thinking that, okay, a lot of the voices and a lot of the opinions have been heard about it and they were making progress. Just to feel like, here we are again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the same old, like I said earlier in the show, like sports is now, certain aspects of sports is now being parallel to slave mentality or slave culture. Yeah. And it's starting to turn my stomach over just a little bit to the point where I'm having to make a tough decision. But that's an issue that I think we just need to stay tuned to. Just keep following along. Nothing big has happened from it yet, but the NFL is also having a CBA expiration happen at the end of this season. So 2020 may be a strike altogether. You're trying to serve 2 masters, man. Yeah, exactly, Joshua. So it's looking pretty ugly from that perspective. Flip side, NBA just came out with, I'm sorry, not the NBA, NCAA just came out with, it's being called the Rich Paul rule, because Rich Paul is a made man. So for those that know, Rich Paul of Clutch Sports, he's an agent that really didn't have an agent's background. So LeBron James used his celebrity, used his popularity to bring forth his boy. Now that's one thing I ultimately respect the hell out of LeBron James for. He brought his crew up, you know what I'm saying? So he put them in positions where they could flourish and make something out of themselves. Chris Paul is one of the highest paid agents without a degree or without a real background to it. Wow. But Chris Paul made it so that, LeBron made it so that he mirrored other agents and learned the job and got the experience. So the NCAA said, all right, we're going to make it so that when the players come out for this new rule they have, that they can test the waters of the NBA, and if they don't make it, they can go back. One of the conditions is they can't go and sign with an agent who doesn't have a bachelor's degree. One of the few people that don't have a bachelor's degree, exactly, Sherm, is Rich Paul. So that's why LeBron named it the Rich Paul rule. And certain people like Chris Broussard have stepped up and said that it's a race issue that they're making and trying to keep him away from top talent. So just when you think you're making progress, even with the NBA,
oh, they'll remind you real quick.
yeah, the NCAA stepped forward and said, "Hey, let's make this," because ultimately the NCAA wants
I
to
don't watch that shit either.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
NCAA wants to maximize money, millions of dollars from student athletes get paid and ultimately give them nothing in return. And they disguise it with a free education, but we all know that they're getting millions for that, $70,000, $80,000 education that they're so-called providing for a kid who's never going to stay there the whole 4 years anyway.
Right.
He's going to be there as a way going into the league. So
right.
Stay tuned. We'll talk more about that next week and beyond. But that's what I got right now. I know. That's what I got right now.
Yeah, man.
I hate to bring it to that.
God damn it, Cash.
I hate to bring it to that level, but that's what we are.
Like Martin.
Because the country's crossing. See, the thing about social media is that
it's line crossings.
Back when we watched Michael Jordan and back when we watched the Bo Jacksons and the Barry Sanders, we didn't know the information that we know right now.
Yeah, we were
So
kids.
social media has allowed us to know and get insight to real situations that go on. And it's eureka moments for a lot of us to say, you know what? This shit really ain't fair to a lot of people. So, and it's the same thing with hip hop. You know what I mean? Before, it was a big deal to sign to a major label. A lot of people didn't realize these people who were touring, selling records, were ending up broke at the end of the day because they didn't know the details of how the industry ran. You know what I mean? It took songs from people like Tribe Called Quest to tell you the industry was shady before people realized that maybe we should take a step back and look at doing things a different way.
Yeah.
Hence the independence move that happened based off social media that allows you to do a lot more without going to a major label and being pimp. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of people that are being woken by a lot of systematic things that are helping people, athletes, and people with talent just stay oppressed. You know what I mean? Or stay in a situation where they have no power. So kudos to them for realizing exactly what it is and starting to try to make things different and make things better for the individual as well as the people that's controlling the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. A great way to end right there. Cash dropping gems per usual. But yo, we gotta go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because of the whole no little intro music in the beginning and stuff, the technical issues, you got a lot more show. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but yeah, man, we appreciate y'all. Mugen, I'ma definitely look Hami Homs up. Appreciate the recommendation. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. There are upcoming release dates and show dates in the description. Make sure you check those out. But in the meantime, we gotta do. Peace, y'all.
Stay in love, y'all.
Yeah, man. We will catch y'all next time. All right.
Sherm, get at me.